Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is DJ Zelex from Team Lone Wolf or Lone Wolf Productions, depending on who you ask. Today, I'm again coming with a slightly different video than my usual flair. Today, I'm going to actually be playing a small bit of No Limits 2. It's a roller coaster simulation game. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about No Limits, or the No Limits as a whole, not just No Limits 2, No Limits is. Sorry about that. Yeah, I hate that. Don't worry. I'll deal with that later. Um, no Limits as a whole is a simulation designed around essentially testing roller coasters. Um, and it's actually used apparently often by actual roller coaster companies to test their own designs because it does full physics testing. Um, I mean, the testing that it does is truly spectacular from everything that I understand that I've ever done with it. I've played around with No Limits before. It's very powerful. Uh, Definitely not something to be taken technically speaking lightly. But anyways, instead of like building something for you or anything like that, I'm gonna do something entirely different. I'm going to be rating, well, quote unquote rating, uh, workshop objects that I'm just gonna pull off of the workshop for the most part. A lot of these I've already downloaded. Um, I'll let you know what they're called if you want to download them yourself. If you've got No Limits, I'm gonna try and not talk over that because it's pretty loud to me. Um, but yeah, if you want to download them, go ahead. Feel free. Now, please note that I'm not going to be coddling anything. I'm going to give my full, blunt, honest opinion. So that means all the goods and all the bads. And keep in mind that I'm going to be rating this from the standpoint of somebody who is very much a theme park enthusiast. So that means that I'm going to be looking at it kind of through the lens of, say, I knew that Giga Coaster was going to come around. That's the one in front, by the way. Um, I'm going to be rating these like they're straight up in real life. So do keep that in mind. So some of the stuff that I'm going to be saying may not be fully realistic in comparison to, say, the actual bounds of the simulation. But I'm going to be doing uh, almost everything to rate it as it would be in real life. So, with that being said, let's get started, shall we? These loads. Typical simulation waiting times. Typical situation waiting times. Typical simulation waiting times. They're all here right for you. Training tween. I like trains. I got nothing. Yeah. Excuse me. Jesus Christ, I'm yawning all over the place. Let me play the game. Oh, for sakes. Oh, I just realized this is gonna load my computer, isn't it? Oh, fuck. My computer's gonna have a heart attack in a second. Okay, this is phase 2. Yeah, it's gonna have a heart attack. Oh, it's actually loading her up. There we go. Okay. First stop on our train of terror, we have Terra. Now, Terra is a fully built theme park. Well, I should be careful saying that. It's not a fully built theme park. Terra is created by one person up on the workshop, and I can't remember his name, so I'm very sorry whoever made this. I can't remember your name. But they have fully recreated almost a new version of. I don't want to say that it's Universal Studios, because that's doing it a disservice. Nothing against Universal Studios, by the way, but you can tell that it's heavily themed on Universal Studios Ports Adventure, I think is what it was called, or Adventure Landing. I don't remember what that park is called, but the one over in Florida, you can tell that it draws inspiration from it, but that's about as much as it's got. Keep in mind that this is in phase 2. It is unknown how many phases there are going to be of this theme park, but it's looking to be pretty impressive. So let's see. There's currently, let me bring up the. That's not the button I was press. That is not it either. So there are currently about 9 rides in this theme park, and keep in mind that this list is only of the track rides. So that includes water rides and coasters. That does not include any flat rides, of which there are 2, if I remember correctly. We'll find out soon enough. I'm actually pretty excited. I love Terra. I think it's an amazing project. The guy has put a ton of work into it. The music sounds beautiful. I actually looked it up. Terra does not exist, so he is totally building this from scratch, essentially. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and put this to max. So this is the control panel, by the way, for the rides, so you can do manual control. So let's get started. So, as you can see, we've got a pretty standard looking, entrance way. And immediately you can see some pretty cool looking stuff. Now, I'm sorry for the frame drop. This is an immensely huge park. And when I say immensely huge, I am talking huge. Let me actually go ahead and zoom all the way up so you can see what roughly I'm talking about. Yeah. Now again, this is only phase 2. Phase 1 did not include any of this area, which is the Mystic Forest and the Apocalypse Zone, I think is what it was called, or the Wastelands. That was it. The Mystic Forest and the Wastelands were a part of phase 2, which is this entire section right over here. This, I believe this is Atlantis and Adventuria. I don't remember what this area is called. So they also built in a hotel, which I think is really clever. So now that you can see just how just how absolutely massive this park is, let's actually go and look around. So of course we've got some pretty immense looking gates. And again, sorry for the frame drop. That's a personal problem. I don't have my super powerful PC with me. I'm running off of my Mac actually. So as you can see, we've got this huge. I believe this is a. I don't remember what type of coaster this is actually. It's a very interesting coaster. It's a. How do I? It's a launched chain hill almost. I don't have a way of describing it. I know that there's a specific term for it, but I don't know what it is because I've never seen it used before. So that's this. This is the navigator. So I love that they actually. I love the fact that they took the time to actually make the open and close times. So I appreciate that. Some neat little animated objects. Come over here. You can see that they actually. They actually state what the next area is. It's Stalheim. You can see that they actually blocked off the areas that go to the next phase of the park, and I appreciate that immensely. I do have a bit of issue that, like, this signage is just kind of like out, like, it's not themed in the least bit. It's just a block that says Stalheim, and I'm sorry, I'm butchering that like crazy. Sorry. Whereas with the back when it was only just phase 1 and phase 2 was being worked on, they had some actually really nice looking blocks or like holds. I know, like a gateway almost that kept people from going forward. So this is the navigator. They have park signs, which I appreciate. So just going through here. I'm not going to walk you through the queue, though I will point out the queue has some beautiful scenery in it. I'm actually going to pop over this wall to show you the first gripe that I have about this park. Yes, I do have gripes. And it's not this. I actually really appreciate the fact that he took the time to put in a control booth. So this is, I'm sorry, this is Eris, my bad. I'm not sure which is the navigator actually. Anyways, I'm actually going to run over here and show you my first gripe. So this is obviously where the entrance is. However, you'll notice very quickly. Oh, I'm sorry. Did they fix that? Am I lying to you guys? Hold up. What? Did they actually fix that? Oh my god, they actually fixed it. I'm very sorry. I thought this wasn't fixed yet. Huh. Well, never mind. Oh, wait. No, that's not right. Yeah, no, that's right. Huh. I don't know. That's very strange. There used to be an issue where literally there was just, like, a solid rock wall here. I'm not sure what that... Whoa. What in the world is this? Oh, this is the navigator. This is the ride that I got confused about. This is an elevator. I'm not sure what exactly the purpose of this is. Because I've never actually seen this work. Oh, it apparently goes over to here. Oh! Okay, this is new. This was not here last I checked. Look at me being all kinds of prepared. That actually explains a lot. This was not here last time I loaded this part. That's interesting. Well, I'm very sorry about that. I totally lied to you guys. Anyways, going back to this ride. I do have another gripe about this ride, don't worry. It's an actually somewhat good gripe. Ah! Wrong button. Yeah, the buttons are kind of close to each other on where everything is, and it kind of freaks me out sometimes. So this is my next gripe. So you can see that this is a this is how the ride stores its cars. Now that's all fine and dandy, and obviously the switch track works because NoLimits, being an amazing simulation, actually supports all of that. No, that is not my issue. My issue is that this ride was built to have a lift as part of the transfer. Now, you'll notice that I pressed the transfer shed button. And literally, that all that does is it switches the track down here. The ride, or rather, the coding does not support this. This is the elevator that's supposed to go down. NoLimits doesn't really support elevators. At least not... Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's because I switched this to manual. Let me just reset this really quickly. You know, this is... It's a small gripe, and I know it is, but like I said at the beginning, I'm going to be very picky. So, sorry to whoever made this. And I know that you kind of made up for it with another section of track, which actually does move kind of sideways, actually, over in the Mystic Forest. But I can't get over it. Honestly, I just can't get over it because it kind of pisses me off. Mostly because I love running this ride. It's a beautiful ride. You built a really nice coaster. There's a bit of a storyline. I can't understand the storyline because there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of out of context. Like there's an entire show sequence right here. I think it has to do with this crystal. That's about as much as I can figure out, honestly. But I know that there's like some sort of a show sequence here that occurs right before the... I can't tell if it's supposed to be a launch or what. This thing. There is the equivalent of their chain lift. The chain lift in Eris. Ace. No, it is Eris, I'm sorry. So... I know. I really want to know what the storyline is. Yeah, you can see it. It just kind of almost launches it. And it doesn't launch it very far, admittedly, but it does. It speeds it up pretty quickly. So, now that that's done, let's actually head over to the other location, which we can get through the ferryboat river steamers. Yes, I kid you not, this guy has actually built in transport. Which is actually really clever, and he did a very good job of it. So the way that he did it is that literally the track is hidden. It's underneath the water, and he built custom ride vehicles, which are the ferries. Now, this is great and all. I can't... it's just amazing. The only issue that I have is the switch, and I'll explain that in a second. Or rather, the lack of thereof. But as soon as an actual, I think a boat's actually coming really soon. Yeah, there is. It's hard to tell, honestly, because it's not exactly an easy ride to look and see if there's the traction wheels really moving the vehicle forward. But that being said, it's a really nice ride. It's actually really clever that they built it like this. There's, I think, 5 boats that they run. I'm sorry, 6. So this is actually the boat that they built. And it's actually really clever. They built a front bow. They've got a little control booth. There's no sort of like gate or anything. You can kind of sit in the seats. Which is kind of neat in my opinion. But I mean, you can't really walk across. Like, it's got its limitations. I'll be the first to admit it. However, you can do the very famous scene from Titanic, which I kind of appreciate. And I know that's such an indescribably small thing, but when it comes to building your own ride vehicles and ride models, you have to be very careful about like width of certain passageways, because you only get so much width, or you've only got so much space that you can play around with before players just can't go through it. Um, but I do appreciate the fact that they built this ride. It's actually the entire park is well built. It has its flaws definitely, but it's overall it's actually very well built. It's, very well scripted too. There's actually some really clever scripts that they've got running. None of it I've shown you yet, obviously. But anyways, that being said, you can actually see that there are restaurants along the park pathways, which are actually really cute. I think that's really clever that this guy has done this. So props to you, whoever created Terra. And again, you can see Eris in the background. You can see we're heading towards, I believe it's called Atlantica. Now, this next area is based off of Atlantis and the supposed technology that they have. Ooh, nice timing on the music. Based off of that kind of a feel. So it's a kind of a futuristic kind of feel on almost Greek-like society. It's hard to describe, but it's really cool, honestly. And they did a good job building this area too. So this is the area that I have trouble with, that I'm coming up to. Also, just as a quick forewarning, if this was a track ride, that's going way too close to the supports of that roller coaster. Just saying. Also, this area that we're going over, or rather under, with the rock formation, the boat goes in and out there. That width, you can actually see, it's not wide enough for two boats. Which is kind of a security issue, or rather fire issue. Oh, it also flips. So this is my issue, and it's this section right here, and I'm actually going to leave the boat really quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see over here, there's like a little water passage over here, where you can clearly see there's boat storage, and they've even got like a little riverboat steamer here too, which is actually kind of cute. No, my issue is the fact that there's no support for this. Literally, there is no track under here. There's no switch for you to put them in storage. And I know it's such an indescribably small thing. It pisses me off like hell. Cause I don't know. It just pisses me off. It bugs me like. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I lost my mouse there for a second. It just bugs me. Because it's not a hard thing to do. I mean, legitimately, it's not a hard thing to do. I could do it in my sleep. Because I've built coasters in NoLimits 2. I'm actually in the process of building Thunder Mountain. But still, it should not be this hard. It's pretty simple. Alright, that rant aside, let's actually go over to here and get off where I would normally get off. And I like this. He actually themed all the trash cans. Again, props to you, map maker. Jesus, what the hell are you doing with your life? So let me actually go over here, and you can see that they've got like a little even. Oh, again, gotta be careful. So they've even got like a little teacup spinning ride, which is actually really cute in my opinion. So we can see. Oh, it's the Badlands. I'm sorry, not the Wastelands. Thank you. There it is, Porto. That's what it's called. So the Wilds and the Badlands are these areas over here. You can see that there's lightning rapids. But first, I'm going to pop over here for a second. This is how you get a Porto. This is the other side of Eris. They've got toilets. Good job on that, by the way. Now, something that's kind of clever is that you can't go in here, but there's actually a ride here called Cave In. Actually, is that? Yeah, it is Cave In. I'm sorry, I couldn't read it for a second. Now you can't go inside of it, obviously, but there's like he's planned out a fact that there's going to be like there will be a show right here, like an attraction right there. Now, again, I know that's such a weird little thing, but that's just clever to me. The fact that he's taking the time to do that. I mean, when you build a theme park like this, you really want to fill out the place, and he's done an amazing job with that. I mean, like, even here, talk of the town. And I said taco, not talk. Like, he's made like little sit-down restaurants and that kind of stuff. And, like, I don't know if he's actually made sit-down. He's made, like, countertop service. So this is Lightning Rapids. Now, I'm not going to ride this one because it's actually kind of a long ride. But I will show you this. And this is actually really clever that he's done this. I know that there are a couple other people that have out there that have done it too. Because I think it's like a base model, but it's more of like how the station is built. It's kind of clever. So it's a River Rapids ride. Sorry, my brain just died there for a second. But like you can see that the way that they dealt with the station is literally it's on a conveyor belt. And I think that's actually really clever for them to have done that. Now I'm gonna really walk through these two. And you actually follow this way out, and you can actually see the boats coming in as you get by your picture, I believe. So that's kind of clever. This guy also did a really good job with making sure that the boats rock, because it's a track ride. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is in fact actually a track ride. So he has to bank the track so that it actually is tilting back and forth. And he's taking the time to make sure that it is actually like feels like it's accurately swaying. And he did a good job with that. Again, some more queue line. I'm not gonna show you that ride just because it's kind of a long ride. I don't have the hugest amount of time. I'm trying to remember which way I should go. I should probably go this way. So here's Elysium Aquanautics. Sorry, I just want to double check on that. You can see you got Elysium, Blade Runner, Gravitate, and Terranauts. Now, Terranauts and the other one, which I can't remember the name of, they're also like attractions. So, well, it's a dark ride. I'm sorry, but it does not exist, sadly. It's just an empty building. Same with the other ride. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's a lie. Gravitate is one of the flat rides. I'm sorry. You know, there's a thing. It's called preparation. I don't do it because I want you guys to be, like, actually feel what I'm feeling as I walk through here. I know I sound bored as all hell. I assure you I am not. I am enjoying this immensely. I love this part. It's truly one of my favorite moments. And I think the entire video might just be it. I'll put like a little thing up front that states it. So this is Elysium. So this is a actually I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way. So this is it's a hanging launch coaster, which you don't really see very often, honestly. But it's just clever, and you can actually go down here. This is how you get over to the Badlands, just through there. You can also just walk over here. You see this pathway from the riverboats. But I'm gonna run over here so we can actually look at the ride properly. That is floating. Okay. Well, there's another gripe. I don't think I really need to explain why that's a gripe. I've never seen that before, actually. That might be due to the newest update. Mystic Hollow. I'm very sorry. It's called Mystic Hollow. It's not called Mystic Mountain or Mystic Forest. That's what I called it originally. So I'm actually going to go ahead and go through the back entrance. You can actually see this is the exit only of the ride, which is actually kind of clever. You can see the entire area looks very overgrown. It's all 2D foliage though, but not much you can really do about that. They don't really support 3D foliage in this game, mostly because there isn't any. But you can see that there's a fair bit of work done. Like there's even like a little conduit box, I think is what it's supposed to be. I don't know, to be quite honest. Well, that's a gripe right there. Apparently the this never raised up correctly. That's kind of annoying, actually. Again, stuff happens. Oh, that's right. I forgot. They built a elevator into the ride. You can actually see the elevator door right there. They built in a elevator so as to deal with people that cannot normally walk down stairs. You can see this is the other end of the elevator. So for those that are handicapped, which again I appreciate greatly. You can see there. This is where things get kind of funky. There's actually 2 pathways. I don't remember which goes where. One of them's a fast track, and the other is the normal walkthrough. So I'm gonna actually go up here so you can actually see what I'm talking about. It connects up right here and it goes down to the ride. Again, the creator created a there we go. They created a control room. Now, admittedly, I'm still in the hover right now. Admittedly, in comparison to the actual person, there's not a whole lot you can actually see from this angle. So I'm sure they meant for it to be slightly above, so about. Stop it. Camera controls are finicky. Around about here-ish on height-wise, relationships to the panel. I'm not sure, but I do feel like you kind of need to work on that. Just saying. Now, also something that's kind of interesting is they do have a switch track storage area. They painted this black, which is actually kind of clever, so that it's a lot harder to see. So I do appreciate that. I do indeed believe that the ride is currently stuck, as it does not seem to be wanting to dispatch. So let me see if I can deal with that. Okay, that apparently worked correctly that time. Okay, I'm not sure what was happening. It seemed like it was just stuck in an endless cycle, and I might be totally wrong about that. Okay. Well, it seems to be working now. And I'm not gonna, again, due to time constraints, I'm not gonna give you the full ride through. If you really want to go and download it, like Terra, that is. Again, this is all up on the Steam Workshop. If any of the stuff that I'm going to show you is not, I will give you a link to where you can download it, and possibly also instructions on how to. Now, here's actually some clever theming that they did. Yes, even in the virtual world, you cannot break copyright law. So we've got Star Bites, the best place to buy your coffee, or something like that. I don't know. So this is the Badlands, which is actually really clever how they've set this all up. Now, I don't know, again, I don't really know all that much backstory about this area. All I know is that it's a post-apocalyptic area, and it shows very well. I remember that it has to do with some sort of a disease, which is explained in the, like, as part of the storyline of the coaster. I think the coaster is actually called Remnant. So you can see from here we've got Halo Drop, The Wilds, Mystic Hollows, and Remnant. And also, I believe this is called the Grinder. Yes. I do not know what the Grinder is because I don't remember ever actually seeing it. Oh, I do. This is the Grinder. It's a swinging arm, I believe is what that ride type is called. So, this is the Remnant. Remnant is a clever coaster actually built around and through City Hall, among other things. It's a launch coaster, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check on that. It is indeed a launch coaster. Now, something that's really clever about Remnant is that there's a lot of kind of clever little tricks that they used around the ride. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually show you the ride. I'm going to obviously start from here and use the fast track because it's just a lot easier. And there's all these newspaper clippings about the explanation of the backstory. I think it actually has to do with robots, not disease. We'll find out soon enough. So it's kind of an interesting ride. Again, if you want the full story, go and download. Here we go. So that was Remnant. Again, it's a launch coaster. Now, I know I said that I'm not going to ride all the rides, but I thought you might enjoy riding this one just because there's some really clever effects. Like fire, gigantic robots, and actually there's some really neat sound effects that occur too. So, there's actually an arcade little area. I don't know if it's set up to actually work, or if it would work in real life. We've got a diner. Again, don't know if it would be sit down. They actually have a ship over here, which actually is kind of clever to them to put it there. Just because it gives more of a feel of a close proximity. So this is Halo, which is that free fall that we actually circled around earlier on the ride. Got your toilets. You got your toilets. So we're now heading into, I believe this is called, it was shown what it was called. It might have been Wastelands. I think that's what it was called, actually. Now, this is another issue that I have with this. This is given, I think it's supposed to be, yeah, like, that is not English. That is a mix of 3 different languages. So, yeah, I don't really have an like. I understand that it's supposed to be kind of clever and that kind of stuff, but take the time to actually like think about what exactly you're trying to write. Um, Now this is also a river ride. I'm not gonna show it to you, but it's also very clever because it uses pretty big boats. It's actually the same model of boat that's used in for Jurassic Park's water ride. That was it. I don't know. I know that the boats were originally purposed for that in this game because it was built for that. I don't know if it's actually based specifically on it, but that's what they're used for most often. You have Python, which is actually a really clever little ride. It's a kiddie ride, obviously, and it actually is a pretty big ride car. Surprisingly so for a ride like this. You can see it's actually kind of a. Let me get up to a better vantage point. It's not an incredibly long line or ride, but it is really good. It's built very well for a kiddie coaster in the sense that there's constantly loading that's occurring, just due to the way that it's built. So, something kind of interesting to look at. You got various huts around here. Another grill a barbecue. There you have it. It's a grill and barbecue. So this is a Empire Temple Trader. I'm sorry. I don't know why I want to say Empire Trader. So there's another shop where actually there's also a carousel. That's actually I didn't realize that. Now this is a gripe that I have is that this area is very much a dead area with the exception of over here, and it's not immediately obvious that that's exactly what this area is for because there's no other. Oh no, there's actually a way to get down here. Never mind. But it's just not obvious that that's the route that you're supposed to take to get over to the forest area. Now this is also a boat landing, and since I skipped that, I might as well point out there's a show lagoon area over here, which is actually really interesting. You can actually kind of see what looks like what's supposed to be a design for like the show or something. But it's just interesting that they went and took the time to again build in a show seating area. It's not labeled and it's of course roped off, but it's interesting that they've got something set up there, and I'm not sure what it is. So this is actually a really clever script that they've got. So this is a way of them having to easily deal with atmosphere. They want this area to be entirely atmospheric. The only issue I have is that there's no easy transition point. It looks very awkward. Because like you can see if I do this, it looks like stuff will just bug in and out of existence. So, but that being said, let's actually look here, and you can see the transition that actually occurs. You can see it's now an entirely different area. So this is like the kiddie area, I guess is the best way of putting it. I know it's not meant really for that, technically speaking, but you've got a little play area. Got actually a really cute little water ride called Crystal River that just goes around the entire outskirts of this entire area. It's kind of cute. You've got the tumble trees, which are free falls, and you have this, which is called Arborac, I believe is how it's pronounced. Apparently it's 55 minutes, even though there's nobody in the park. Arborac, Guardian of the Forest. Now this is a spinning coaster that's actually done very well, because it's got the combined elements of when it is and isn't spinning is very well done. There's also a really clever effect that's built in, which is what I was talking about earlier, where the elevator didn't work with Eris, this has a. It's kind of an elevator. It doesn't really. It's not intended to be an elevator necessarily, uh, but it's just kind of clever how it's set up. So I'm gonna actually walk through this area now. I'll say right now, the queue is not easy to understand at all. That is a small gripe that I have with it. It's kind of a weird gripe, but you have to keep in mind that there's very low light in this area, which means that unless you know where you're going, it's not necessarily intuitive on how to get where you're going to go. So that is kind of an issue that I have with it. If you had like arrows pointing to places, I'd be a bit more okay with it. But it's very dark. It's the same texture, just repeated everywhere, and the only indication of where you're supposed to go really are these picket fences, I guess is what they're called. But like, I don't know. I just have an issue because all the walls are the exact same texture, so it makes it very hard to tell. Now, this is kind of clever. They've got a separated load and unload. It's actually very good for this ride, considering how it's built, as it's meant for quick throughput. And I appreciate again that you've got like a little control room over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually get on this ride. Now you kind of saw it in front. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of clever in my opinion. It's kind of a weird way of doing it, but it works, kind of. So, anyways, here's our board. So, as you can see, Aborak is a very cleverly built ride. It's very almost kind of reminiscent of Space Mountain in the sense that there's two sections of the ride. There's the kind of outdoor theme, which is outside and, well, again, kind of outside. It's in the big space, rather. It's a better way of putting it. Go this way. Yes. Like I said, it's hard to tell where you're supposed to go unless you know where you're going. So this area, where it's kind of calm, you're going straight, and then essentially you piss off the Guardian of the Forest, Arborak, and it turns into a spinning ride, which is pretty clever, actually, a way of setting it up. That being said, it's not without its problems. The turn coming from the first elevator, you are leaning way too far over. Each time that I ride this ride, I feel like I'm about to fall out of the seat from how badly you're leaning still. And the turn doesn't help at all, honestly. It's also kind of confusing, the dark section, but that's also just because it's dark. So, inherently it's going to be kind of confusing. So, there's also another ride over here that I actually forgot about called Moon Dance, which is actually a... Now, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's... I know what it's called in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. It's called the Spinning Fairy. Or at least, that's one of the variants. It's called the Crazy Fairy. Excuse me. And they've got it in this game. It's actually kind of clever. I don't remember if it runs, but it's just kind of clever that they put it in here. It feels kind of out of place, though. Honestly, in this area, it's the only ride that's like this. The name kind of makes sense with a question mark, but again, it just feels out of place almost. Like you got this kind of foresty feel, and then you suddenly have this swinging ride that has no backstory. It's got nothing except it just feels kind of out of place. Like I can understand these, but I don't know. It just feels out of place to me, honestly. Honestly, I wouldn't say get rid of it, but it feels out of place to me. It feels like it shouldn't belong here necessarily. So, that being said, let's head back out into the bright rest of the world. So, that is Terra, Phase 2. Phase 1 is also up for download, so is just Phase 2, so just the new sections. So, as always, adventure awaits. So next on the list is Frontier Express. Now, sadly, this is going to be the last one for the video because as of the time of recording, I'm about an hour long. Obviously, editing is going to make it shorter, but the first park, the huge theme park, Terra, took up a ton of time, and I'm kind of sorry about that. I'm kind of not because it's truly a very awesome park, and you should definitely check it out yourself. But it did up a ton of time, so I'm gonna leave you with Frontier Express, and I'm obviously going to hopefully do this again, so you will see other parks, and I will hopefully get to rip them apart a bit more than I did Terra. Um, oh, I'm sorry, I'm still in free fly. Whoops. So this is Frontier Express. This is a very interesting little coaster. Um, I don't remember the type of coaster. I believe it's a dive bomber. I believe. Again, I believe. Um, Now, what's kind of cool is that these lanterns actually light up at night. So I don't know if that's a pre-scripted object. I haven't taken the time to actually look at the workshop to find out. Um, so they've got, and this is actually kind of cute. They've got the fast lane, if you want to go take it fast, if you know what I mean, or the standby. Um, so I'm obviously, while I am a quote-unquote certified ride operator, I'm actually just going to go ahead and take the standby because it's a bit longer and it's a bit more beautiful. I'm going to run through it a bit. Sorry. Now, first gripe that I have is that, yes, this entire area is beautiful, but the queue is horribly themed in the sense that there is very little scenery. Yeah, there's a couple of trees. Yeah, it's like wooden fencing and all that. But that's it. Like, there's hardly any scenery here. Until you actually get to see the exit. And yes, that is actually the exit. But that's about it. Like, it feels very barren, almost. Oh, oops. So, and you do kind of get some hint as to what this is. This is the Barnaby Brothers Gemstone Mine. Which is kind of ironic because literally almost all the coasters outside. So, I don't know what type of gemstones they're mining. Oh, this is another gripe that I have. This is actually a gripe that I have with a lot of parks. Always, always, always walk through your queues because you might encounter this issue, which is that the tree here actually is causing, like, me to run into an invisible wall. I don't know which collision I'm directly incurring, but some trees just have this weird collision issue where literally I just can't walk past, and it's the same for a lot of people, and it's right here. So yes, always, always, always walk through your queues, or else I get pissed off, and a lot of other people get pissed off because they have to fly through, and nobody wants to. And it's also, like, literally, the route is freaking going through the floor. I think that's a good enough indication that you might want to place it slightly off to the side or something. Anyways, going back, again, kind of barren. So, this is actually kind of nice though. Is the actual mine entrance is actually kind of well themed in the sense that, like, you've got like a wooden archway, you've got some lights over here, you've got the "To Mine Train" sign. It's actually an arrow underneath that, which I couldn't really tell from the distance, but that's actually kind of cool. It's low texture when you get close to it, but that's the case for a lot of stuff, so can't really be too annoyed about that. Again, you got some lights. The interior, the actual load station, is actually pretty well themed for the most part, with the exception of this weird archway, and that's coming from unload. So, like, you actually, I like the fact that they try to hide the actual gates that come with the station. Not everybody tries to do that, because they're using the actual gates themselves that come with the station. But obviously they didn't want the metal parts, so they try to cover over it with wood, which is actually really clever. I don't think I've ever actually seen another ride try that. Now I'm actually gonna go around here to kind of show you something. Is that the and actually it's on the other side too. Is that this is actually really clever. Is that there's a full length walkway all the way from load to unload, which is actually really good for like ride operators. It's a lot easier for them to walk back and forth and be able to move. So that's kind of nice that they set that up. And I think I just noticed either a glitch or something really interesting that I've never noticed before. That being said, or actually no, scratch that. Oh, is it just like a? I don't know what that is. Oh no, it's just a weird graphical glitch. I don't know what's happening there. Sorry, I'm looking at this light right here. It's like blinking on and off. Yeah, I think that's just like for all. As soon as it gets like out of field of view, it like resets the script. I don't know. Anyways, the gripe about the cars. The cars are not themed. You can't just put coloration on the cars and say it's themed. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So don't do it. And I know it's not exactly easy to theme your cars, but considering the amount of work that you... Oh, I'm having trouble here. Let me actually get into the car first, so I'll have an issue later. At least take the time... Like, I know that this was probably built in a hurry, but I don't get... Like, I feel like you should at least take a bit more time. Like, legitimately, don't have it gray. Like, I know that that's kind of what my cards look like. Just don't have it gray. It just doesn't look nice. So you can see they do actually have a full catwalk, which is nice. They did do that right. They have all this set up, and I think part of this is actually manual or automatically set up. I don't remember. I'd have to look. Or sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm thinking of the Smiler for some reason. I'm sorry. Anyways, so as you can see, a lot of the rides are actually outside. God, the air. I'm gonna talk over this one because, well, with Terra, the rides are built beautifully for the most part. Not all rides are like that. I will let you guys know where games that are up because that happens. Not physically being thrown out of the car, of course. Oh, I forgot about this area. This is the actual gem mine. Yes, they built a scene into the ride for this. I love the fact that you have an emergency exit area that goes to absolutely nowhere. That connects up to nothing. It's just a magical portal to Ordnance Ware. That being said, I'm still happy that you have it. Still. Oh, that's also kind of a sharp turn there, but I mean, the dive bomb with the these cars, you can kind of get away with that, honestly. So I'm not gonna blame you for that. Something that's kind of interesting is that you can actually fully see all this storage track for the cars. And yes, this ride actually does have 8 cars built into it, which is a fascinating number to have built into it. At least last I double checked, it has 8. I might be wrong about that. No, it actually has 4. That's interesting. I thought it had 8 for some reason. Probably because these storage tracks actually have enough space to have 8 cars. This is actually kind of cute. That you have built enough space for it, but you've only got 4 cars. Now, I'm sure that probably has to do with also the amount of block sections you have. But that being said, you don't need this much space for storage, honestly. It's just not necessary. And I appreciate that you have it out in the open because you kind of theme it well for it being out in the open for the most part. It doesn't make it any better. I appreciate it. It just doesn't make it any better. So, that being said, oh, I'm gonna get run over. Squish. I'm being very morbid today. I just noticed. I was morbid before recording, and I'm apparently morbid during the recording. I'm probably gonna be morbid after the recording too. Figures. Anyways, I'm gonna actually get rid of this because nobody wants that right now. So that's Frontier Express. I did not notice any sharp turns. No. No, that's just some weird issues. Yeah, like again, invisible walls. You run into them. They're kind of a thing. Apparently, what's interesting though is that it's actually far enough out that you can actually slide past it. So at least you can get around it. It doesn't make it any better, but at least you can get around it, honestly. So as I said, I didn't notice any sharp turns. However, I forgot that the game actually has a built-in. It has built-in weather control also. I have to remember which function button this is. Mostly because literally almost all the function buttons do something. That's not the button, is it? I probably have to actually be in the blind. Ah, I got. Oh, actually, no, there it is. You actually can see the full. I'm gonna pause the game for a second. You actually can see the full forces that are currently acting upon you, and also your current speed, which is kind of nice. You can also see current FPS and also the simulation speed. And I'm gonna be using that also. I forgot to use it because I totally forgot that I have it. But that being said, it is a thing that actually does exist. Now I don't know if it is actually gonna keep track of that one car. So you can see that there's moderate speeds. You get about 90 miles per hour in a dive bomber, which is actually pretty quick, all things being considered. Especially since this is a dive bomber coaster. This is not a coaster meant for quick speeds necessarily. It's meant for, I wouldn't say mundane speeds. I would say it's meant for speeds in which you can go through inversions but not kill your to the point. Go. How do I put this? You can go through through inversions slow enough that you don't kill yourself. That's about the speed that you're supposed to go with a dive bomber, and also probably about as high as the initial drop tower is. Somehow I don't think it's meant for 90 miles per hour. That's like the speed of a line launch coaster or linear induction motor coaster. So yeah, I do have an issue with that, honestly. But the vertical Gs are actually pretty tame. They're about 3 Gs or 3.2 at most, I think I saw, which is actually pretty standard for the most part. And that's probably around the more sharper curves that's going to occur. So that's actually entirely fine. But it was more of that speed that I was having an issue with. Now, about that mine thing with the emergency exit. This is the back of that scene where you have the emergency exit. It's a straight hill. And I do appreciate you carving out all this stuff. It's actually very well carved out. I apparently have gotten the entire ride in an e-stop. Don't I? I do. Whoops. That explains a fair bit. Whoops. Yes, you, dispatch. I think that's actually the car that I just saw. It's actually picking up a fair bit of speed. Well, there's an easy way of finding out. Let's see if it just drastically just drops. Oh yeah, that's the one I was just watching. Now, 80, that's about fine. Actually, I would go with about 80. 90, I have a bit more trouble. Oh, this is actually kilometers per hour. That's not. I said miles per hour. What the hell am I talking about? Kilometers per hour is an entirely separate unit. I don't know why in the world it's in kilometers right now. It should be in miles per hour right now. That's actually totally acceptable speed. Ignore my previous gripe. I'm an idiot, as per usual. Um, but yeah, this is the emergency exit. It's not exactly gonna help anybody per se. Uh, so yeah, again, it's just small things that I have issues with. With this one, I've got a bit more issues, especially with, well, I shouldn't say with the speed, with a lot of like the mundane things, like literally, you've got a fair bit of space. You could just put some, I don't know anything scenery wise in. Color your cars. Do something about this gravel pit. And I know it's not really what it is, but like this serves no purpose except for you to like bring down speed. And even then, you're not really bringing down speed. You're just adding another thrill. And I understand that, and I can see why you do it, but still, like, have it circle around something. Like, it feels really strange, just being here, especially since you have this one support, and I kid you, it is literally just this support, like coming straight out of the center over to here. Now, yes, supports are for the most part automatically generated, but you can change the supports in the game, in the editor. Make sure you actually look at where the supports are going, like, or else you get this, and this just looks really strange. And I know I want something in there. I don't want the support right in the freaking center, unless it's like a really freaking tall helix or something, which is what this is called. This is a down helix, right? But it's just I just have issues with it, honestly. Just do something about this. And I know the people that are actually creating these probably aren't even gonna watch this video. I don't care. You guys are, and that's what's important, is that I'm educating the masses on my opinion. And my opinion only. This is my opinion only. Nobody else shares my opinions to my knowledge. If they do, that's kind of creepy. Um, so, uh, again, just I don't know. Figure out something for this. It just feels weird, honestly. So that's I don't have another way of explaining. Just do something about this, please. And color your cars, for God's sakes. Literally. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that little bit of video. Um, I wouldn't say that I had fun recording it, but I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy recording it. It was very interesting to have to suffer through uh, the individual little quirks. Is the best way of putting it. Uh, Not to say that Terra is terrible. I love Terra. Uh, I also enjoy Frontier Express, each for their own reasons, but they both have their own issues. And honestly, to really get a really well built coaster or park, you have to put a lot of time in it, honestly. Um, Terra is probably the closest I think I've ever come across that gets really close to it. Maybe the other being World of Adventure, I believe. I'm probably going to cover that in the next video if I do another video. Um, but I mean, really, that's the best I think I can come up with in regards to like really what a accurate representation of a park would be, um, and also feel right in a park and be aesthetically pleasing and all that such. Anyways, again, I hope you enjoy the video. Hopefully, I'll do another one. If you guys like this, please let me know. If you don't, well, you can tie me to that coaster and launch me to wherever that coaster actually goes. Um, so again, just let me know. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy. If not, uh, don't hit the dislike because that doesn't really help me unless you put a dislike and a comment. Either way, put a comment. It helps me understand what you guys want. It helps you guys communicate with yourselves, figure out what exactly you want out of this channel. Um, you can also put your own ideas on what you feel that the coasters should be. Do you feel that I was right on being kind of annoyed at Frontier Express? Do you feel that Terra should really get that much uh, praise from me? Let me know. Honestly, I want to hear your guys' opinions also because it's fascinating to see how each person interprets a ride. That being said, if you want me to cover a ride, just let me know in the comment section below. I'll make sure to try and cover it in the next video or the next video that I make, rather, of the series if I do this again. And I'll give a shout out to you and also the creator, obviously. Um, and you can find out what I think of it. Now, keep in mind that most of the stuff that I'm going to do, I have seen before. I have ridden it. I have gone through the entire park. I haven't like pre-recorded or anything like that, but I know what I'm getting into. But there are some times where I just don't, and that will be a blast for both you and me to find out what's going to happen. So, again, like, comment, subscribe.